In February 2026, the United States executes a decapitation strike against the Iranian regime. At 6:45 a.m., Israeli jets hit a compound in Tehran, killing the supreme leader along with his immediate family. Within hours, 900 targets are hit across every domain. Nuclear sites, missile launchers, and command centers are neutralized. Iran's air force is shredded, and its navy loses 30 warships in the first 5 days. But the military victory is immediately overshadowed by global fallout. 4 weeks later, oil prices have spiked past $100, peaking at $126 a barrel. The Strait of Hormuz is closed to all traffic, and Dubai has begun a mass evacuation. The United States achieved its tactical goals on paper, only to find itself trapped in a conflict it has no financial or strategic path to finish. The Pentagon followed a familiar playbook, the assumption that a regime collapses once its leader is removed. This worked against Saddam Hussein, and the Americans treated it as a repeatable formula. This strategy failed to account for the role of martyrdom in Shia Islam. To his followers, the supreme leader dying at his desk alongside his family is a powerful religious signal that transforms a military defeat into a call for national jihad. Within 48 hours, the Iranian military decentralized its command. Every region and local cell received autonomous orders to strike their own preset targets, removing the possibility of a second decisive blow against a central leadership. The U.S. focused its strikes on command centers in Tehran, Isfahan, and Tabriz, cities that hold Iran's most educated and progressive populations. By destroying the infrastructure in these urban centers, the U.S. eliminated the very people most likely to support internal reform, while the hardline militants remained safe in their mountain strongholds. Iran's retaliation skipped over the U.S. military and targeted the Gulf states instead. These nations are the financial engine of American power. They sell oil in U.S. dollars and reinvest that capital into American stocks and bonds. Cities like Dubai are engineering marvels, but they are physically vulnerable. Their glass towers and man-made islands were built on the assumption that regional conflict would never reach their doorstep. Demographic reality adds another layer of risk. 90% of Dubai's population are foreign workers, whose presence in the country is tied strictly to their employment visas. When drones began hitting local hotels and infrastructure, those expats immediately started packing. As the workforce flees and insurance companies pull their war risk policies, the regional economy stops functioning almost instantly. Iran didn't need to level these cities to achieve its goals. By simply proving they could hit them, they triggered a mass exodus of the people and capital required to keep the Gulf states running. The central choke point is the Strait of Hormuz, just 21 miles wide. When closed, 20% of the global oil supply was instantly cut off. This also blocks essential imports. Without these lanes, the desert nations lose their means to feed their populations. Geography gives Iran a permanent advantage here. Their coastline is lined with mountain launch sites that look down on the flat, exposed desalination plants and oil refineries of the Gulf states. This highlights a massive strategic oversight. The American regional center of gravity was built in a place that cannot sustain itself without uninterrupted maritime trade. The weapon dictating the terms of the war is the Shahed 136 drone. It is a slow, GPS-guided explosive that Iran produces by the hundreds every month for as little as $20,000 each. This chart shows the cost disparity. To shoot down a $20,000 drone, the U.S. uses a Patriot interceptor that costs $4 million. For every dollar Iran spends on an attack, the U.S. spends up to $200 on the defense. These drones are launched from the back of civilian flatbed trucks that blend into normal traffic. By the time a satellite detects a launch, the truck has already moved, making it nearly impossible to strike the source. In contrast, a Patriot battery requires a massive logistical footprint. It takes 30 minutes to set up, cannot move quickly, and is a stationary, high-value target that is clearly visible to any observer. The American military-industrial complex is optimized for the production of expensive, high-margin weapons. It is not currently equipped to win a war of attrition against an enemy using disposable, low-cost technology. 3 weeks in, Trump threatens to bomb Iran's energy infrastructure unless the strait is reopened. Iran ignores the threat, and a 5-day pause in U.S. strikes fails to produce any change on the ground. Iran's regime hasn't collapsed, it has consolidated. The Revolutionary Guard now runs the country, and the new supreme leader has made it clear that the strait will remain closed until their demands are met. Regional observers now see the limit of traditional deterrence. A regime that has already integrated the concept of martyrdom into its military command cannot be coerced by standard threats of escalation. The U.S. is now in a bind. If it withdraws, the Gulf states lose faith in American protection. This could lead to a decoupling of oil from the U.S. dollar, destabilizing the financial systems that link global oil wealth to American markets. If it stays, the U.S. must spend millions of dollars daily to intercept cheap drones, watching its own defense stockpiles dwindle while the global economy continues to bleed. The American empire was built on the premise that overwhelming technological force creates obedience, but that power is neutralized the moment an opponent is no longer motivated by fear. When the threat of force no longer dictates the enemy's behavior, even the most advanced arsenal on Earth loses its primary strategic value.